Hey guys, Veronica here. I'm in the forest today and I wanted to take a step back and talk about what I've been working on for the last few weeks. So it occurred to me as we start to get deeper into spring, late spring and summer, that I'm not entirely confident that the soil in my field can support the amount of life that I'm trying to grow right now. And I really wanted to try and find a way to address that without having to haul in tons of amendments. One of the things that I've noticed with the compost that I picked up, with a lot of the bag stuff I'm getting, is there's either a lot of herbicide damage that's happening, as I can see in like the growth of my plants, or there tends to be like a little bit of salt damage from a lot of the bagged fertilizers, or bagged compost mixes, not fertilizers. And I started doing some digging. I went down this rabbit hole as far as nutrients and whatnot. If you've watched any of my Instagram stories or caught up on that lately, you'll see, or that that's what's been going on. But for everyone else who hasn't, basically what's happening right now is I have decided to dive into Korean natural farming as a way to potentially address the field. Because I have a forest and all of the forest life in the soil at my disposal, it really makes sense to approach it this way. So I wanted to use this to document this process and maybe try and work through some troubleshooting in this space if it's something you're playing with, or if it's something that's been intimidating you and you don't know where to start. So today we're going to be making an IMO, or starting an IMO. So what's IMO? IMO is Indigenous Microorganisms. It's basically all of the life as far as the microbes that live in the soil in my forest floor. It's what's responsible for that nice humus layer. All of the soil that we had talked about before when we were doing the soil sampling video and looking at like how dark and complex and soft it was in the forest versus out in the field. And I really would like to build that sort of soil in the field so I can grow better vegetables. So this method basically, it strikes me as a really great experiment to try and make that happen out there, to try and revive over-tilled, degraded soil and put some life back into it. I've been told that you can build up to 3 inches of really great topsoil a year, which is kind of insane with this method versus just doing your normal, compost amendments, biomass building with cover crops and whatnot. So I want to dig into this a little because I think that's exciting. I know there's probably people out there who've documented it, but this is documenting it in this space. If you're working with heavy clay, we're going to dig in. So in this basket right here, I have a couple baskets of rice, as you can see. These baskets are 2/3 full, and so I par-cooked this rice. Basically what I did was, before I even cooked it, I'm also making a lactic acid bacteria, or a lab, as there's lots of acronyms in Korean natural farming, but I'm making a lab with the rice wash. It's just the starchy water, and so I got that process started, drained the rice, par-cooked it with half the amount of water that the recipe on the back of the bag said that it needed. It's just really basic, nice white rice, and then filled this basket 2/3 full. And this is going to be kind of our food and substrate for the microbes that live in the soil. So we're looking at, beneficial bacteria, we're looking at some mycelium, there's all kinds of stuff going on in here, and this is going to be basically like a big flashing McDonald's sign to all of them to come and colonize, hopefully, and get a really nice sort of fuzzy growth on it when it's complete. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, but hopefully they won't. So what we're going to do is, I've wandered around the woods a lot. There's lots of mycelium everywhere in this particular woodland, which is fantastic for this sort of project. But I'm just going to focus on one collection at a time so that if something goes wrong, I don't have little baskets of rice all over the forest. And what we're going to do is, you want to find a spot that's one of the highest spots if you're doing this in your woodland, in your forest, in an outdoor area that has a lot of leaf matter and debris and a lot of stuff breaking down. I found this spot and decided that it was ideal because when you dig through the leaves, you'll see you can see that there's mycelium that's breaking down a lot of this debris. It's turning it into soil. That's the sort of life that we want to capture and apply it to crop waste, to cover crop, as it dies, to all of the various organic matter that I have out in the fields. And learn how to incorporate these microbes back in, because the ultimate goal out there is to do an orchard / forest. So it makes sense to start preparing that home for those trees. So I'm just going to dig just very gently down in this space and expose the soil layer so that I have some place to set these baskets. And I might kind of even it out a little right in here. You want your baskets to touch the soil, so I've been told, and have exposure to all of the various organisms that live in the soil. And this spot is a little lumpy, but we're going to make it work. And so I have 2 baskets here. I have this one, which I'm going to use this one as a lid, and I also have a wire lid for it because I have a lot of dogs and there's other animals out here that probably like rice. So you want to make sure that you're able to cover it and put a lid on it of some sort. You don't want to cover the airspace between the rice and the top, because you need that space for all of the gases to kind of build and escape, and for the microbes to know like what's going on. But we'll just set this in here. I'm actually going to put this wire lid on top of it so that it's a little bit less accessible. I've folded it around one side. I might try and hunt down some hamster cages if this works out well, just so that I can actually completely cover it. But I have a crate I'm going to put on it when all is said and done with the heavy rock. And so I'll set this guy down. And then this is another little basket of rice. And I like this basket because it already had a lid. We'll see if it gets just hauled off by some animal. But again, 2/3 full. And so I've got this one bungeed closed, just to try and add a little extra. No, I can't get the bungee back. Add a little bit extra protection. There we go. And then I'll just set them. I actually might move him over just a little. But so then you want to put these leaves, and I'm going to put this basket on top of this one so it has a cover, because you want it to not be really exposed to like a lot of light. I don't know if that cover is going to let too much leak out the sides. This is, my learning process. But again, documenting it from the beginning so that if it works really well, you can be like, okay, well, I saw it happen from the beginning. And if it doesn't, then we can troubleshoot from there. So I'm going to push these leaves up around this basket, and you want the basket to kind of sit down in the soil. If you're in a cooler location, then you want to dig down a little more and let it sit lower so that it'll get the right temperatures. But here it's warm enough. I think I can just let it sit up like this. And so I'll just move all of these lovely decomposing leaves right around it and press up against the sides of the basket. And then, oops, we're dropping dirt in there. Pretty sure that's not supposed to happen. And then I'll do the same with this other little guy. And there's some really nice, I have to show you this. This is great. I love getting excited about stuff that looks like mold because that's where all the life happens, right? Like all of this mycelium, all of this, these microscopic organisms that we can't actually see with the naked eye for the most part are what's going to build us really complex, dynamic soil out in the field and help feed those plants. So I'm really excited about this process, but you can see there's just like crazy amounts of mycelium on these leaves. So very exciting. I wasn't really ready for this process a few years ago when I first stumbled across it. I hadn't done much fermentation. I hadn't really done any like mushroom cultures, and now that I've got those a little bit like more, they make more sense in my head. I'm able to revisit this and be like, okay, yeah, like this will work. So this basket might be a little small, but I liked it because it had a lid and it's cute. So we'll see if the culture works out in it or not. And then we're just going to surround it again with these leaves. And I'm hoping the dirt I got in here is not going to ruin everything, but I might just try and like pick some of it out. It'll be fine. And that's basically it. We're going to cover these with a little more leaves. You got to get your lid on. And then we're going to wait for a couple of days and come back and check on them. And I'm doing this, it's one of the higher points, like I said, but it's also fairly close to the house. It's an area that I walk by frequently. I'm really hoping that helps deter any animals that might eat it, as well as encourages me to, you know, remember that it's here and check in on it, putting it on the calendar. And then I'm going to put some more leaves, just scoot a few more from around on top of this basket. And then I have a crate that I'm going to stick on top of these when all is said and done. And it is off camera, too far for me to reach right now, but I will show you. And that's pretty much it. The one thing I think that concerns me about the one that has the looser lid on top that's much larger than it is you're supposed to check your cultures by feeling the bottom of them, so the bottom of the basket that you're using. And the whole reason we're using a basket is so that all of those microbes can get in the cracks and that it breathes evenly and doesn't get like gross fungus and molds that you don't want in there. If it's too airtight of a container, then a lot can go wrong, but as long as the container is able to breathe, then the microbes should, you know, find the food and be happy chomping on it. So at least, you know, that's how I've learned it so far. But I'm a little nervous because this one, like, the lid will come off pretty easy when you go to pick it up and you check under the bottom of it. And when it's ready, the bottom of it should feel fairly warm. So that would mean that it's completely colonized, that decomposition cycle is beginning to happen. God, these leaves are great. And hopefully we'll get a good sample, and then we can move on to the next step in next week's video and go from there, because this is it's like a 3 or 4 step process, and there's like various parts that you can kind of include or not. Like there's like the deluxe edition, you know, where you get all of the things, and I haven't brewed all of the things yet. I've just started playing with it, like I said. So I'm not sure that I can answer that many questions at this point. There are some really fantastic resources online. Natural Farming Hawaii is great. I went to one of their workshops, and Drake is a fantastic teacher. I highly recommend him. If you have a chance to go to a workshop, if you don't, there's a website with all of these instructions there. But I just really wanted to document the process, because if it turns out to be cool, then we have documentation of it. Like, I think that that's important. So if you have any questions, like in this space, but not crazy specific as far as doing it yet, because this is my first time, then please leave them in the comments below. If you've done it before and you have suggestions, recommendations, you've already seen things that I've done wrong so far with like just this, then also please leave those in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see how this project works out. We're basically going to be taking segments in the forest, in the field, in the greenhouse, just like we've been doing for the last month or so, and incorporating this into those practices to see if we cannot help to feed and build our soil a lot cheaper than most applications, with a lot less work, and with more dynamic and robust soil life. I mean, the whole goal here is regenerative agriculture, and so if we want to regenerate, and we're regenerating without livestock, I think that this is a potentially valuable way to go about doing that. So follow along, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, follow me on Instagram at FlavorKit, and until next time, happy gardening. Let's do it this way. The crates. And the rock.